Hey, ladies, and welcome back
Hey,
to this week's episode of the Power of Women podcast.
what's
I
up,
am your
girl?
host, Tori J, and I am joined by the beautiful,
Teso, the starseed,
the one and only.
the one and only girl.
Okay,
Yes,
ladies.
we're actually going to be discussing, I think, domestic
Yeah.
violence in relationships. As women is something that we go through a lot, especially I think the figures are, I think it says that more women die every year from domestic violence than they do breast cancer,
Mm,
which is just mind blowing when you think about it. Do you know what I mean? And I think you
yeah.
were giving me figures as well, saying that most of the deaths of women in a year are often as a result of people that they know, like lovers, partners.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like something like
Yeah,
over 90% of women that
that is
are
insane.
murdered by a spouse, a partner, somebody you've been intimately involved with.
Insane. That reminds me of
Scary.
the that TikTok star. I really don't know what his name is. I can't remember. And it's crazy again. I'm calling him the TikTok star because social media, or and the not even social media, the news actually have been portraying him as that. And really, he's a murderer. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I think I don't know much about it. I don't really have it. Well, I don't have a TikTok account, but I it comes on Instagram and stuff. And I saw that he I don't think they were even together anymore, were they? Like, I think she was leaving him and he had a restraining
Yeah,
order
they
against
were
him.
like divorcing or divorced or separated or something. Yeah.
Right, yeah. And then he turned up at her wherever she was staying and killed her. I don't know how he did it. Did he shoot her?
I see. I gotta look back into it.
Yeah, something like that. But he killed her basically and killed the guy who she was supposedly seeing.
Yeah.
And I think they said he bugged or put a camera in their child's iPad so he could like track her and then killed her. And obviously people online are saying, oh well, she was cheating. Why did she cheat? She cheated, she deserved it. And obviously it's majority men, some women too. And it's just mind-blowing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
No.
firstly, if she wasn't actually cheating, they were actually in the process of a divorce because he was so controlling and possessive. And he turns out he had actually been cheating on her, projection much. um and now, but we have to talk about the fact that he felt so entitled to her and so enraged by the possibility of her doing something that he had previously done, something that
Mm.
made her leave him in the first place, that he felt the need to take her life. And people on social media are saying, well, if she cheated, that's what you get for cheating. Like, oh my God.
Mm. You know what's crazy? First of all, nobody deserves to be murdered.
Oh my God. Because
I
they
don't
wanted
care
to
what
live to sleep
anybody
with somebody
does.
else. Are you kidding me right
Nobody
now?
deserves to be murdered. I don't even like when I hear people say things like that about like certain people in the world that they deem bad. People that you don't necessarily agree with or like for whatever personal reasons. I don't like when I hear people say, "Oh, this person should die." Like, why do you
Right,
think you should
right.
wish death
Death
on
on someone.
anybody? People still have families and lives and whatever. You know what I mean? You should never wish death. Allow, the
Let it
universe,
take,
allow God
yeah,
to handle
yeah,
it the way it's supposed to be handled. I
right.
don't like that energy in general. So when people are so insensitive and they hear about something like a murder and it's to even top it off, like you said, the woman is leaving the situation and and she's murdered. Even the it was a girl of was it a month ago now, a couple of months ago now? She was murdered by the guy that worked at her apartment. He like broke in
I think I
and
saw
he because he
something.
had the master key. The people who work for the apartments
Yeah.
have the key for all the
Oh, yes,
units.
the young girl. I
Yeah,
remember.
he
Because
broke
she
in and
turned
he
him
murdered her.
down.
Yeah, she didn't want to talk to him.
Oh,
Um, this kind of energy, like you put it, this entitlement to a woman and feeling like you have the rights over somebody or they belong to you. And I hate that. It's something that when I was younger, I don't know where this trauma came from. Well, I mean, I guess I could figure it out, but the I used to love being in a relationship or being with someone and either them telling me or vice versa, me saying it to them like, I belong to you. I'm only yours, and I love them feeling that powerful, like you mine, and I used to love it when a man would say that,
Me
you mine,
too.
you belong to me.
Yeah.
I'd
My
be like,
woman,
oh,
I belong to you.
but
Mm.
no, girl, bye.
I
Like when I hear things like that now, I'm like, boy, bye. I don't belong to anyone. Nobody
I'm
belongs to
telling
anyone.
you.
I'm my own free being, and
Right.
I'm here to exist and experience, and as we all are. But in terms of domestic violence, it's such a it's such a heavy discussion, and it's very personal to me because I have been in several um relationships where I've been abused. And um, I've been abused physically, I've been abused emotionally, verbally, I've been abused in several different ways. And I want to go into the other types of abuse, but in terms of like my personal experience, I remember being young and
Wait,
hearing
what do you mean
about,
other types of abuse? Sorry to cut you off.
oh, that's
When you
fine.
say other.
So I want to go into like the emotional side of abuse,
No,
or
that's very important. That's domestic violence as
yeah,
well.
yeah, I want to
Psychological.
go
Yeah.
into the types of abuse that's not seen. When people get beat up, we see it. And we go, okay, well, we could see the bruises,
Yeah.
or
And there's a lot.
we somewhat understand. And even then, a lot of times there's no sympathy for women when they're being abused. But if there is going to be any, it's when people can physically see your pain. If people can't see your pain, and sometimes you unfortunately don't even see your pain because you are that traumatized and that manipulated and controlled, it goes, it's ignored, it goes ignored, and it goes
Yeah,
unnoticed.
absolutely.
And it's very dangerous because that's
Mm.
how women end up murdered. But i remember I remember being young and just hearing about a few people that I knew that were in physically abusive relationships. And then I remember always saying, not me, that wouldn't be me, I'd never, please, nobody never
Right.
put their hands on me.
Right.
And um it's crazy because the first time somebody like was rough with me, put his hands on me, I remember that. It was just such a toxic relationship, girl. We used to scream at each other,
Mm.
like, and it could be, and I'm not a I don't like any of my business in public. I'm real private.
Right.
And so I definitely don't like drama in public. I don't like that at all.
Right.
And I'm not saying that sometimes people don't trigger us and we aren't justified to go off on somebody however you feel like going off. But I am just not that person. I don't want to
No, right. It's what
scream and
works
do
for
all
you.
that. And yeah, I
No.
want to do all that. If I have to do all that, then I really just don't want to do it. But um
I mean,
girl,
that's
I
toxic,
remember
period.
it is so toxic, but I remember the guy was trash though. I remember he was a cheater. He used to scream and argue and you know,
How
really
old was he?
all
Sorry, do you mind me asking?
you want to know what's funny? I didn't know how old he was for a long time. At the time, I thought he was like 5 or 6 years older than me, but I found out later because he lied. He was such a terrible, terrible person. Girl, he lied about his age. Come to find out, he was closer to like, how- he was closer to like 15 years older than me.
Oh my God.
He was
That's
closer,
why I
and I
asked
was
the
really young.
age.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
because
really
that's why they
young.
target the younger women as well. They do it
Yeah.
to all women, but they
Girl,
target
he lied about everything. He lied about having
younger.
kids and he lied about everything.
So a real
So
predator.
yeah, girl, like just completely trying to trap you in every way. Don't want you to know
Mm.
who he is at all.
Mm.
So I remember him putting his hands on me and us getting into it, and like it just pissed me off. I put my hands back on him. He pushed me, I pushed him back. He tried to slam me on the bed and I couldn't slam his ass. But I got up and just threw my weight on him as fast as I could.
Right.
But um but it was real toxic and I didn't mind. It pulled out so much anger inside of me, anger that was, boxed up from life, from hell, probably from past lives, from childhood, just
Right.
from experiences, just all this anger that was boxed up in
And the
me.
collective, yeah, the collective
Yeah.
trauma of women.
Yeah, man. He just kind of pulled this energy out of me. And I just remember like I was always ready to go head to head with him. And I didn't care. And that's kind of where I know I had that I didn't care attitude, especially when it came to things like that when I was a lot younger. And he triggered a lot of that in me.
Right,
Just
right.
pulled, I just had a lot of anger issues after that. And it's funny because I went on um to be with someone else that wasn't ever physically abusive. He was trifling, so
Right, right.
but he wasn't physically abusive. But I remember specifically a couple of times us getting into it after he, done something crazy. And I wanted him to try to put his hands on me. Like I was just he never did. That wasn't his personality. But
Mm.
it's almost like I was waiting on him to. Like, I wish you would,
Yeah, I
because Imma
relate.
lay
I can
your ass
relate.
out. Girl, I was ready
Yeah,
for him.
relate. I can so relate.
I
Yeah.
was ready for him,
And
definitely.
you
But
shouldn't even have to be like that, But
it should
yeah.
not have to be like that. But I wanna say this. From those first couple of experiences, the one experience that really I feel like turned my life around, it was the icing on the cake for me, was a guy I dated a few years later. And the relationship was fine in the beginning. I mean, he wasn't somebody who I think I should have been with. I don't, you know how you act. I don't know how you accidentally get in a relationship with somebody. I don't know what it's in the trauma.
But it happens
It's
to me.
yeah, I don't know what
All
in
of a
the
sudden,
trauma I got
you're
going
like,
on,
God
but
damn it.
girl, yeah, but it was just fun and it was cool. But he was he had a lot of anger issues. I found out later that uh, his father had a lot of anger issues and he grew up in a household. And I never got any stories in terms of if anything had ever happened in his household, but I've heard that his father had really bad anger issues, which was crazy because his father was a pastor. But
Mm,
um and
interesting.
yeah, girl, but he was so violent. And I remember meeting a girl that he dated prior to me because I found out I found out that I don't know how I found out about this girl, but I found out about this girl that he had previously dealt with. And she ended up reaching out to me and she basically told me that he, was cheating on her and that they had this whole life
Mm,
together and that
mm,
he even put
remember.
his hands on her and all these things. I was like, he put his hands on
Mm,
I said, girl, bye. He'll never put
remember.
his hands on me. He'll
Yeah,
never
he
put his
could
hands on me.
never.
I was so like,
Right.
well, and then she was,
I'll whoop
I'm
his motherfucking
tall.
ass.
Girl, straight up. And I'm tall, so she was a real small girl. She was like half my size, no lie.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was like, oh man, he gonna put his hands on her and look how little she is. But me being as tall as I am, I felt like, nigga, please, I'll lay you out so quick. I wish you'd try it. But let me tell you something. I
Mm,
didn't experience anything like that with him for a while.
mm,
And before our relationship ended, and he's beating his chest during certain arguments and showing his quote unquote power and his anger. It started off with him like punching holes in walls and things like that. Just you
mm.
can't control your anger. Things like that it's something you have to pay attention to.
Yeah,
Because if you can't
definitely.
control your anger especially when you're the one that's fucking up
Yeah.
and you are resorting to getting so violent and angry where you have to damage and beat and throw things or you want to
Because
walk
how
off or you
dare
don't
you
want to
question
talk
them?
and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, it's like who do you think you are? We're just
Mm.
having a conversation. You can't
No,
have a
you can't.
conversation. Like that's how
Nah.
messed up your mind is.
Huge red flag.
So, because and again, exactly, and again, I'm not a screamer, yeller. You did this, and I found out this. I'm not even doing all that. So,
Mm.
and I could, but I'm not doing that, and you're still reacting crazy. So like I said, it started off with him punching holes in the wall. And then it got to one point where I realized he has these anger issues. He's cheating. And I was like, you know what? We're not together. We done. And he was like, who not together? I said, we not together. I'm not with you. You not with me. I'm not with you. You here right now, but we not together. I'm single. And I said it straight up, just like that. We done right now. It's over. I'm not dealing with you.
Right.
And that boy turned into a monster.
Mm. Mm.
Mind you, I said boy. I hope you heard that. That boy turned into a
He's a boy.
monster. Yeah.
Mm.
And and let me tell you something. He put his hands on me, and at first I tried to, stand my ground as best I
Yeah.
could, but he put his hands on my doggone neck, and he
Mm.
held my neck so tight and
Mm.
squeezed, trying to squeeze
Mm.
the breath out of me. And I
Mm.
remember praying to God in that moment because I literally did not have another breath. Like I could feel myself not having another breath. And because I couldn't, he held it so long with so much pressure on it. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I'm about to die right now. I don't have another breath. And he's so stupid. He's about to kill me and he don't even know it. Because I
No, you
didn't, in
think
my
he
head,
doesn't know it? He probably does know it.
right. In my head, I'm telling
Mm.
myself that he didn't want to kill me. He's just crazy
Mm.
and
He's trying to
violent. But
scare you.
but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just he just has these anger issues. But of course
What
he's
we
not
tell
trying to kill
ourselves.
me. Right. No, he probably
Yeah.
was trying to kill me. But the point is, I was like, he's about to kill me. Like, and that's it. That's gonna be my life. And I was like, God, oh my God, I don't have another breath. He
Oh, bro,
let
I'm so
go right
sorry.
in that moment, girl. I didn't eat for like 48 hours. My throat was
Mm.
swollen.
Mm.
In that moment, I felt like I was gonna die.
Right.
And it scared me so bad. It scared me so
Mm.
bad. I've been in car accidents before and they scare me too. They scare the hell out of me. I've had, other accidents. I've seen other people have other kind of accidents that are,
Yeah.
very scary. But experiencing that firsthand and having somebody put you in this position where it feels like they could take your life, it made me realize how much I value my life. And it shouldn't take that. But in that moment, I realized it on another level because I've always loved my life. But I realized, oh my God, I'm not going to ever get to, at the time, I didn't even have kids. So I'm like, I'm not
Mm.
going to ever get to have kids. I'm not going to ever get to accomplish all of these dreams that I aspire to accomplish. I'm not going to ever get to see my family again. It was just all these thoughts was crossing through my mind. And
Because of
I
a
I
man.
decided, girl, I
Because you had a
decided that
boyfriend.
I would never, ever allow somebody to treat me like that. And not only that, if I even seen an ounce of a sign that you had any kind of anger issues or any kind of things that remind me of that kind of toxic behavior, I'm done. I'm running. I'm not wasting my time.
Absolutely.
I'm not sticking nothing
Absolutely.
out to wait to see what happens. I don't care about you working through your problems. I don't care when I hear people say that,
Right.
well,
Goodbye.
everybody, people have problems, people have to grow. Well, you going over there and grow and do what you need to do. I'm not dealing with that with you. I
No,
would
and why
never
should
do
it
that
always be
again.
at our bent? It's always with the women. And we're the ones who are supposed to just be suffering and building a man up and no, absolutely not. I'm not doing
Mm-mm.
that. Go and get yourself together. I'm not your scapegoat. Do you know what I mean? And
Mm-mm.
I saw it's interesting. Well, it's not interesting. It's actually quite tragic and so sad. I was listening to your story again, like I hadn't heard it before, and just really feeling it, because like I think I saw when did I see it? I was online and I saw something and it said about how those who strangle people, those who have the ability to strangle people, are always more likely to kill
Yeah.
because it's a very different kind of, it's a very intimate way as well to like
Yeah.
attack
You look at me
somebody,
right in
like
my eyes
right in the eye and taking their breath
and
away. Do you know what I mean?
watch the breath leaving my body.
Oh, they're disgusting. Yeah, it's very triggering, honestly.
Yeah,
And
it is, girl. I feel like I can't
oh,
breathe right now talking about
oh,
it.
I'm shocked.
Let me take
My
a
whole
couple
body
deep
felt funny
breaths.
listening to you. Okay, let's do it. Exhale. No,
Lord,
seriously.
I needed that.
And to kind of further add on to the things that you said earlier, re domestic violence, right? Like you said, oftentimes we think about domestic violence and we just think of the physicality, physical abuse, but there's different forms. Like you said, there's emotional abuse, which is obviously psychological, and there's also sexual abuse, which is another one I want to get into.
Mm.
And with emotional abuse, there's things like, for example, I've never ever seen a situation where there's physical abuse and there's no emotional abuse. It's a lie. It's impossible. Psychological abuse comes hand in hand with emotional abuse. I've never seen a domestic violence case. And emotional abuse is things like insults, belittling, um, intimidation, like you said, destroying things, threatening to attack you, threatening to take away your children, threatening to kill your children, things like that. those are different forms of domestic abuse that people don't really class as domestic abuse. Even humiliation. You know, you're with a
Mm.
partner that likes to humiliate you. That is abuse. And then another
Mhm.
one that, as women, I think they've only recently even changed the law for that, is obviously sexual abuse, right? Especially if you're married or with a partner, they act like they can't physically, they can't sexually abuse you, but they can. When they're forcing you to have intercourse with them when you don't want to have intercourse, that is abuse, right? Or if they're
Mhm.
guilt tripping you, you know, making you feel bad when you say you don't want to have intercourse, that's abuse. And I remember one time, it's quite sad because it's now happened to me on a few occasions growing up, but I remember the first time I heard this, I was in uni, and a friend of mine was talking about her boyfriend, right? This guy that she was seeing, and I think she said she was even engaged to him at the time. She's no longer engaged. She's no longer engaged to him now, but she was with him. And I remember her, he was older than her as well, like more than 10 years. And she said he came to see her at uni, and when he came, she just wasn't in the mood to have sex. You know, she just didn't want to have sex. It was getting on her nerves. She was like, no, I don't want to have sex. And he kept trying and trying and trying, and eventually she said she just lay there.
Mm.
She just lay there and let him have sex, and then whatever. And then he was done, and he was, oh, babes. And I remember at the time when she told me, being so disturbed by it, because I was like, but babe, that's not right. He can't do that. Like, that's not, I know you think that it's okay, but it's not okay. That's actually abuse. To me, that's rape.
Yeah.
But she didn't see that, you know. And then now I now found myself in situations where I was dealing with partners, and that same thing happened to me. And I remember thinking, oh my God. Do you know what I mean? Like, how am I now in this situation that I said so vehemently that I wouldn't be? And even down to the actual physical domestic abuse, when you were talking about, you know, how you felt like a guy could never touch you, and you were quite tall, and you know, you could handle him. I'll lay him out. I used to think like that. I mean, hell, I still think like that now, you know. But I think experience has taught me that those are the things I used to do when I was younger, you know. Like, now I'm very cautious of men, because I've been in a few relationships and I've been in a few situations where they've been very
Mm.
violent, and I no longer want to play. I can't even, I don't have the
Not worth
ability.
it.
You know, I don't want to play with you. I don't want to risk my life. So I just kind of find myself succumbing, you know, or kind of just lowering down my rage in order not to increase their rage.
Yeah.
That's what I find myself doing. And I'm somebody who kind of grew up around domestic violence. It was something that it was my daily in my house. I saw it regularly. I saw domestic
Yeah.
violence regularly, like emotional domestic violence, physical domestic violence. It was a daily occurrence for me.
Yeah.
And I always saw that I would never, ever, I wanted to even be a domestic advocate counselor. That's how deep it was for me. And I would always be like, no man can ever touch me. I will never let a man touch me. I will knock him out, you know. So I was very like defensive in relationships. But I myself ended up in quite a few relationships where guys ended up putting their hands on me, you know.
Mhm.
I remember one of my exes driving even, and he was someone who'd never put his hands on me. So I was quite shocked. Well, I say that, but no, we did have a few volatile relationships, you know, where you're like screaming back and fighting back.
Mhm.
Um, and then eventually, I remember we were driving in a car. I wasn't even his girlfriend anymore, actually, which is crazy. We were driving in a car, and I had gone to see someone else because I could do what the hell I like, you know. And then he was like, he was questioning me about it or something. And then I think he said to me, he said, I mean, I don't know why, just nastiness, you know, because how dare I move on? He was like, are you a whore? That was the question he asked me, you know. And I remember thinking, like, okay, first of all, we haven't even been going out for like over a year. Why is this any of your business? Like, why are you asking me questions? So my response was, is your mom a whore? Because no, I'm saying the thing is, yeah, people always laugh and
It's a
think
good
I'm being
question. I
serious.
mean, did
It's a
he
very
answer it? Is
serious.
she?
That's the point. He refused, and I kept saying no, because then I said, "Is your mom a whore?" And he was like, "What?" I said, "You gonna call my mom a whore?" I said, "No. I'm saying, is your mom a whore? Because if your mom is a whore, then I am a whore. But if your mother is not a whore, then I am not a whore. Do you understand what I mean?"
Yeah.
And then and I was saying it just like
You know, they're
that,
very
because how
simple
dare you?
though, you know.
Like, what is wrong with you? I'm allowed to say that. Don't tell me I can't say that. And you know, you see a lot of guys on they talk about, oh, they love their mum. No woman is ever going to try be like my mum. First of all, nobody is competing with your mum, you fool. Nobody is
Mm.
competing with your mum. I'm not trying to be your mother. I'm not trying to take her love. And this shield you're hiding under, that no woman is ever going to be my mum. No woman is supposed to be your mum. Just say that you are misogynist and let it be. You know, just say you don't
Right.
like women. And then when I said that, he punched me in the face. He actually punched me full on square
Oh
in
my
my face, punched me in my face. And I remember thinking, oh, he was driving as well, you know, clear on just Pam. And I remember me being enraged at the time. They hadn't battled me, they hadn't beaten me down so much that I wasn't going to fight back. Because after this, I'd gone to situations where I didn't fight back. But I obviously then started to attack him whilst he was driving, which is terrible because he's driving as well, so we can crash. But I did not care, and I
Did the
continued
same
to,
thing, girl. I
girl.
know me.
And then when I bust his lip actually started bleeding, and I was so happy. Like, I was so, honestly, I left that car looking disheveled, like, you know, like ruin a war, but I did not give a shit.
It reminds me of the scene with Ike and Tina when she whoops his ass at the end of the movie in that limo, and they get out the car and they trying to get their
Yes.
clothes together.
Oh my God, bro, it was like that. It was literally like I was swinging and all
I
sorts
was
of
so
shit.
happy when she finally whooped his
I
ass in that
swear,
car. She
whoop
took her shoe
him.
off and was going. I said, "Get it,
Oh,
girl."
I remember that film so much as well. That film was like my childhood.
Yeah,
I
man.
could relate so much. And it's crazy because I remember as a child watching that movie and thinking, well, not even thinking, knowing and saying, wow, the situation we're in here is worse. I
Yeah,
used to say that. I used to go, oh, if we did a movie, you know, people would cry more than they cry. Because I cried at watching that movie when I was a child a lot of the times. And now I realize that, of course, I'm crying because it's sad, obviously, but also it's something that I'm directly going through.
yeah.
So it was really emotional for me. Um, and I don't know. I think that it affects us in ways that we don't even realize.
No, and
You
it
know,
stays with us.
it
It's really deep. It
stays.
stays.
Yeah, like nobody has the power. We are not. They do have the power, but we really have to take a look at ourselves in this situation and not give people this level of control, power, and possessiveness over you that they cause you pain physically, emotionally. I want to
Right,
say sexually, but sexually is physically as far as I'm concerned as well.
right.
So like we really can't. We need to remove ourselves from situations like that.
Yeah,
And
I
I think that it
agree.
starts with just educating ourselves. But I guess I wanted to say educating ourselves on our worth, but it's not. It's more so just spending time with ourselves, you know, finding out who we truly are and understanding that our worth is not based off of this person. Because oftentimes that's what it is. You feel so worthless without this person, so
Yeah,
worthless that you just end up
yeah,
thinking, well, I'm just going to stay. I don't care. I'd rather be here than not with this person. And
yeah,
anyway, all couples have problems, you know, especially those who are going through emotional abuse. I see that a lot. Like I see girls now, they're not necessarily, their boyfriend is not physically abusive, right? So
yeah,
they don't actually clock all of the snide little comments he makes here about,
yeah,
you know, things that they're doing or their appearance or their work and stuff, like the belittling of their work, the belittling of their appearance, you know, the little snide jokes,
yeah,
controlling when they can and cannot go out. Those are the little things that girls nowadays, well, women nowadays don't really necessarily clock as abuse because it's not your standard one.
yeah.
It's not the obvious one, like you said, that you can physically see. So we kind of just stay with it. And like you said, we even like it.
Yeah, we do. We do. It's
Oh, he
we've
cares
learned
about
to
me.
cling to this toxicity and call it love, you know. Um, it's funny because, when you mentioned sexual abuse, I remember the same guy I was just talking about. I remember one time, well, after he did that, after he tried to choke me that day, well, did choke me, but after he attacked me that day, um, I obviously knew his level of crazy. I said, "Oh, he'll kill me crazy."
Mm,
And I remember telling him that I didn't want to sleep with him. And I remember him getting so mad. And I remember him telling me, "You can't tell me no." And then he like ripped my drawers. Like, you know how you see in movies, these guys like rip their shirts off. He ripped the drawers off of me, but the way he ripped them, they tore
Oh
upwards.
my God.
So, girl, can I tell you the kind of pain I was in for days? I was like, I was in so much pain because they ripped up against my skin. They ripped on my
Yes.
skin. It was so painful. And we actually didn't end up having sex, but
Imagine that
um
level of entitlement. They're really crazy.
girl, he was like, "You can't tell me no." He was just so angry. I remember him running in the house and kicking down the door, and we were at somebody else's house. I remember him kicking down the door. I remember locking the door before he kicked it down and saying, "When you
Thank
come
God I'm
back, I'm gonna
safe.
be gone. I'm done." And and girl, all I know is like in like less than 5 minutes, I heard him jiggling at like the doorknob, and I was like, "Oh, he can't get in because he don't have a key." And I've locked the doors, and I was fine. I like started to walk away and go finish getting ready because I was going out. Girl, in about 2 seconds later, that the front door went busting down. He kicked the door in, and I learned in that moment that I see the level of crazy he is, and I'm just going to refrain from telling him that we're done because I know we're done. We are done in my head. And if
Right.
he need to hear or think that we not done until I am in a position to remove myself completely, then your wish is my command. Because look, I don't want no problems. Yep, we together. We
Survival
can
mode.
smile. Yep, what we having for dinner tonight, babe? Because I'm hungry since we together. But no, like I'm,
God.
I'm not playing those kind of games. But I even my most recent relationship, I remember when it got to the point where I know he's cheating. I know um, you know, he's talking to other women about me. He's, making his plans on leaving the relationship. He's just doing all these different things. And I remember him complaining that I wasn't having sex with him. And obviously I wasn't because he's cheating.
Right.
And I don't want to be intimate with you. Like I don't want to be physical with you at all. Um, And not to mention, I seen you talking about me to your women. Like,
Right.
so he, I remember, I remember having sex with him one time, like one of the last times I did. And I remember I didn't want to. And I remember it felt so bad. It felt like he was angry, like he was trying to hurt me.
Yeah. Because oftentimes when they do stuff like that, that's more about power. You know, men
Yeah,
use sex as power, especially sexual violence. It's power to them. It's not about the sex. They don't care. They just use it because, and you know that men also have this really sick way of thinking that they think that when they sleep with you, you first of all you belong to them and you're somehow kind of less than,
yeah.
if you know what I mean. So they tend to have this habit of they feel like if they sleep with you now, who do you think you are?
Yeah, because it's
Now you're
not that you're
nothing.
having sex together or you're
No,
being
you're not.
intimate
No,
together. It's like he's
they're
having sex
using
to
you.
you. He's
Yeah,
like doing
to
something to
make to
you.
make sure. And when he's doing that as well, the energy he's
Yeah.
putting inside you is to make you feel disgusting and horrible, right? So
Yeah.
because he's not having sex with you from love, he's having sex with you like, you're mine. How dare you? Now you lay here and take this anger because you know I don't want to have sex with you. So you're
Yeah,
just
girl. That's
transferring that
exactly what it that's
disgust to
exactly
me.
what it felt like. It felt
Yeah,
so bad. It felt like he was
yeah,
trying to hurt me. It was
yeah,
just it felt like I was being abused, girl. I
yeah.
felt so
It
disgusting.
was
I
that
felt
not even
terrible. I
it
mean, it
felt like
is.
it was
It
abuse.
is.
Yeah,
It
that's what
is.
we're
It
talking
is. And
about right now. That's
that's how
abuse.
so deep, man.
That's
But
abuse.
I will say this, even in this relationship that I'm speaking of like now, my most recent relationship, um, there were other types of abuse, obviously. So um, even when somebody's not physically abusive, they can be extremely verbally abusive. And you gave some great examples of that, like someone putting you down, or or you getting to the
Yeah,
point where this person controls so much of your life that they get to dictate what parts of your life are important enough for you to be
right,
able to actually pursue.
right.
Like
Like your family
like
and
things like,
friends.
yeah, your family and friends not being able to see them, or um if this person is the breadwinner and they now control the money that you get and have, and
Right,
they've now decided
financial,
to
yes.
put you in a position to not have anything, and then they now start deciding what they give you or how much they give you, and they limit what they give you. So now
That's
you're
a
in a
major one.
situation where you don't have anything. This person has total and complete control over you, and they've made you feel like your worth is limited to what you can do for them, what you can do domestically for them, like almost like you're a servant. What can you provide for me, cooking and cleaning and all of these other
Right,
things? But you don't need to be going out anywhere. You don't need to be pursuing any careers or anything like that. You don't
yeah,
need to be
right.
out with your friends or anything like that. So you can be controlled in so many ways, and all of that is
Emotionally.
still abuse. And
Right,
sometimes
right,
we are
right.
so far gone, and I didn't even realize it. I remember having a few conversations about it after the fact and really feeling like, man, you know, I felt so low. I felt so low. At one point,
Mm,
I lost so much weight, and I thought it was, because I eat plant-based. I'm like, it's the plants.
mm,
And I even started back eating meat for a short period. I was like, I'm losing too much weight. And I was breastfeeding. I was like, I'm gonna eat some meat. Ate meat. Now I was getting sick and I was still losing weight. So I
right.
had to, so then I was like, okay, it's not the meat. I definitely didn't need, I knew I didn't need that. But my mind was freaking out because I was dropping so much weight and I was so stressed out. And I just didn't know what it was. But it's just you can really see how you're being affected and you don't really realize it, especially
You
when
feel
it's
that's what it
coming at
is.
you
Yeah.
in these other disguised
Subtle
forms.
ways.
You know what
Yeah.
I
Like,
mean?
yeah.
Like you don't
Especially the
even realize you're
control.
being abused. People think
Yeah.
that, oh my God, life is great for you. Like, what did this person do? And you can't even explain it yourself. You can't even
Right.
explain what's wrong and why you're not happy, because when you think of a bad relationship, you think of the extremes, or you might compare to a relationship that you were in prior that was worse. And because you're comparing it to that and you're like, well, it's not like that. So I guess, I mean, I don't really know, maybe it's not bad. You start,
Yeah,
you don't know how to
definitely.
put your finger on it. But meanwhile, your soul is just being crushed,
I'm
you
telling
know?
you, man, majorly. I agree with that, especially like the level of the control as well, the controlling behavior. When you mentioned the restricting access to financial resources, just crippling you financially to make sure that you actually can't go anywhere or do anything. Like they make you quit your job even. You're like, you're not supposed to work. You have to stay at home. And
Right.
if you try and have any kind of life outside of them, they completely guilt trip you. Do you know what I mean? They monitor how you go out, where you can go, who you can go and see. And when they start doing that initially, we kind of think, okay, well, okay, I guess he just cares about me. He just wants to spend a lot of time with me, so that's fine. And then before you know it, it's completely engulfed your entire being and your entire life.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? And it's just, I
Yeah.
just find it really
Feel like a lot of my relationships have started like that. The
me
majority of
too.
them
That's why I
started like
said,
that.
like, I don't think I've had any relationship where, obviously not all of them have been physically violent, thank God, but like I said, a lot of this abuse they go hand in hand. There's normally emotional abuse and psychological abuse are hand in hand. And then emotional abuse again is something that is constant, I think, in most relationships, but we don't even realize it at all.
Yeah.
We don't
No,
realize it
we
at all. In fact,
definitely
we
don't
make
realize
excuses
it.
for it. And
Yeah,
then
we
we
make
also
excuses.
a lot of us actually believe that the man is supposed to have this kind of power over us, and he's supposed to control us, and he's kind of supposed to be possessive, and we are meant to just submit to that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's parts of the problem. So when they start exhibiting their madness, we just see it as, well, I guess he's a man, and they're supposed to do this. This is what they do when they care. But
Mm,
it's not. We're not supposed to lose ourselves for them. You're not supposed to lose yourself for anybody. You are so worthy. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like, you deserve a life and a partner that brings you joy and peace and happiness. Like, once you are constantly, sad and upset, and in fact petrified, because oftentimes you're petrified of them, you're walking on eggshells. Um, it is time to go, you know. And I know that domestic, and it's not even about saying, I don't even know the angle I'm really taking this at, because I can't even say that, you know, you should leave, yeah, because of course you should absolutely leave, like 100%. But look at this lady that we talked about, the TikTok star, she left, you know, like we leave. A lot of women try. How many women do you know who have tried to leave their partners and the partners have actually killed them when they try to leave?
The one that was with the pastor, the sister that was with the pastor, and she was with her family, her brother and somebody else, and they were like,
In
he was like, "If
Yes,
she
the
comes back
Ghanaian
over here, I'll
pastor.
kill her." Yeah.
Yes, I remember that, and he did actually kill her.
Yeah, she went back over there and he killed her.
It's just a lot of misogyny, you know, and I just don't know. Oftentimes, I can't lie. Right now, I don't really have an angle on this, because it's very draining for us as women. And I think the best thing that we can do, and even then, again, like I was reading a story about Star. I'm not going to say his name. I don't really know him. I saw him today for the first time, and apparently he was accused of rape during a first date. She met him on the first date. They had a great time, and then he raped her. He forced her down and was like, because as far as he's concerned, you know, they've had a great date, so he's entitled to her body.
Mm.
You know, and again, that's something that happened during the first date. So I don't even know what to advise. You know, I can't say to you, as soon as you spot violence, leave, because on the first date you can be met with violence, severe violence. You know,
Yeah.
and then if
Yeah.
you're in a relationship and you spot it and you want to leave, you can still be met with violence. And then if you're in a relationship and you're so battered and so petrified that you don't want to leave, you're also blamed for it. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it is it is really difficult for me, Jazz. Honestly, I don't know how to. I don't know what to how to, you know, what it is we
Yeah.
can do as women right now. You know, honestly, it gets a bit much thinking about it at times, because it's like, how do we continue? Because we're going to continue to bring up our self-worth and our self-esteem, but the ultimate
Yeah.
bottom line is, you know, at
Yeah.
any given stage we can be met with this at any
Yeah.
given stage
Even
of the
even when
relationship.
you're just telling the guy, no, you don't want his number.
He
I
will
mean,
attack
there
you.
was there was a few
Yes.
women that have been attacked recently, and I think another lady was murdered. And I said recently, this was
Yes.
a few months back. And I feel like, was it in New York? It was a story I heard recently, and there was a few of them that came out back to back that were similar. But these guys were trying to they were trying to talk to her, and I know one of them asked for the number, and she said no. And they were all surrounding her. You can see it on the video in like a liquor store. And so when she walked outside, they like attacked her. They attacked
They
her.
they repulse me. Do you know what I mean? You see how repulsive that is, and in their
Yeah.
brains they think it's okay, and it's because society continues to reiterate that we belong to them. And it's the same way, like what I've started doing now is as well, when I'm out, guys have a, I don't know. Do you know they like to say, you know, I'm sure loads of men must talk to you. Guys always say that like it's a compliment. It's not a compliment. You should be able to see a woman and just leave her alone. Don't comment on the way she looks. Don't comment on her body and then expect her that she's supposed to take it as a compliment. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? So
Right.
even when you're out with them, like when I'm out now and they make absurd comments, don't be like, fine girl, beautiful. Don't call out to me. I literally ignore them. I do not
Right.
like pay any kind of mind to them. And then they will literally say to me, I'm complimenting you. I'm saying fine girl. And they get angry. Like, how dare I not recognize this so-called compliment? It's not a flipping compliment to me. Leave me alone. I
Right.
don't need you saying that to me. I don't need you harassing me. Just
Not
shut
only that,
up.
they don't even really mean it. Like, I
You
mean,
don't mean it.
obviously
You're
you
doing it to
bad, so
disrespect.
he means it in a sense because, obviously. But when they say it, they just say it anyhow to any and
Degrading in a
everybody.
degrading
They
way.
say it to
Yes.
everybody that walks past them, anybody that will
Yes.
turn and give them any
Ugh.
attention, even if somebody gives them no attention. They just say things. It's not like they see somebody has made eye contact with you or
No,
had a
no,
conversation with you, and they're
no,
like, "Oh my God, you're
no.
amazing."
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
"You don't even know
no.
me.
Nothing
Like, get out
about
of my
me.
face."
And you're so entitled that I must respond to you and acknowledge you and say, yes, thanks all. Because again, this entitlement, who do you think you are?
Yeah.
I'm not entitled. You're not entitled to me. I know that society has told you that, but that's the biggest thing. And I think that we need to even start to re-educate as well. Do you know what I mean? Engage men and boys, like just teach them so that they can, let's start to promote non-violence and actual gender equality. Because I think the
Exactly.
concept of gender equality blows men's minds. This is why they are disproportionately violent to women, because they do not see us as equal to them. oftentimes I struggle to think they even see us as human beings. They actually see us as less than,
Right.
honestly, because the things that they do to us, they don't do to their friends, because they see their friends as equals. But with women,
Exactly.
inherently, a lot of men, and I grew up in a society, like in a household and in a society like that, around everybody around me always makes it clear that a woman, they would say what women are, a woman and a man. There's a big difference between us because we're not mates. But again, even if somebody is not your equal, we have to really re-examine the moral compasses of the patriarchy one and men and all of these people who commit these kind of things because they feel that we're not equal to them, or they believe that they're you're their possession and they can control you.
Mm.
Okay, let's say all of that is true, right? And why is it that you believe that the way to handle that, or this position of power, quote unquote, that you've been given, is to abuse it?
Mm.
Why is that? Because I believe everybody has individual power. I believe that me, for example, I'm a very powerful ass individual. Do you know what I mean? But I would never want to use my power to oppress anybody or get anybody to submit to me or control anybody to feel powerful. And whether or not I was supposedly higher than them or they were less than me, that's a moral issue, because if you're a
Exactly.
genuinely decent human being, it don't matter if you believe the person is worth nothing. You have no right to treat them so badly. And then especially when the person now loves you, that's some deep psychological
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
Deep. The person is showing you love and you're like, well, you're less than me anyway. So
Yeah.
this is how I'm going to treat you because I can treat you like that. That's what we have to examine. Why do you feel that that's like,
Like, what
why do you
makes
want
it feel good to you? Like when this person is begging you, because you know how we get. I know
Yeah,
plenty,
yeah,
plenty of
yeah,
women have been in those
definitely.
situations.
Definitely.
You're even begging a man to be with him, begging him to stay, begging him to, just please, like crying and everything. And he's
Yeah.
like talking to you crazy and disrespecting you and telling you that you mean nothing to him. Like it's really deep, really deep.
So
But
let
they
me
kind of
ask you
get
a
off on
question.
that. Hmm.
They do. But this is a question I'm asking you, like, because I can't answer it. But what would you say? Because I know that we've both been in situations, right? But what would you say to because another one that I see a lot, I see it in the older generation, and I see it in a few young ladies like us who are with partners who are obviously very emotionally abusive, right? They might not be physically abusive, but they're very emotional. They cheat without like regard. They go out, they don't speak to their partners, they talk to them any kind of way. They're very disrespectful, they don't contribute, nothing. They do nothing like that. What kind of advice, like what would you give them to kind of help them get out of that
In that
situation?
situation,
Yeah.
um,
Emotionally abusive ones, especially. You know what I mean? Like, how
yeah.
can they? Because no, sorry,
'Cause
let
a
me
lot
land.
of
I
times
didn't
you don't
actually
even
land.
realize you're there.
I
Go
didn't
ahead.
finish there.
Go ahead.
So, and then you tell them, that's what I wanted to get to. You tell the men, leave. I don't want you anymore. I've seen it so many times. Even married couples, get out. I'm done. I don't want anything to do with you. You have to leave me alone. And the man just kind of laughs, like, please, I'm not going anywhere. And he stays, he
Right.
doesn't care. He's not leaving. And then you end up hearing the woman say, well, I want him to leave, but he's not leaving. So in that situation, you now
Yeah,
have to
I
leave, right?
actually know. Yeah, I know of a lot of women have been in those kind of situations too, where they don't want to be the ones to leave. They want the man to leave. They're like, if he's
Yeah.
this trifling and wants to do all these things, then he should just go. And it's like you're kind of trying to take the responsibility off of yourself by
Because
saying he
he's not
needs
going
to
to
be the one
go.
to
You
go.
don't want to go.
Yeah,
Yeah. You're scared. You
yeah.
don't want him to go.
To these women, I would say, it comes a time where you have to decide what matters to you and what's
Mm,
important to you. And for me, no matter how low I've ever gotten in life and how bad I've ever felt and how insecure I may have become, I always come out with this mindset that I want to be happy and I want to enjoy my life and I want to experience life the way that God intended me to experience life because God would not make us suffer. God wouldn't want
right.
us to suffer.
Right.
So I always say that like is how it feels when you're depressed, you're insecure,
Mm-hmm.
you feel worthless. Um and then if you're observing somebody and they're now abusing you, any type of abuse, and you're going through this experience every day, that feels really bad.
Mm.
It feels so bad. I've even had women ask me, how do I leave relationships so easy? And I said, it's not like it's easier for me than it is for anybody else. I just don't like the way it feels when it hurts.
Yeah,
I
of
don't like the
course.
pain. I don't like feeling worthless. I don't like I don't like every day waking up not happy. I
Right.
don't like that feeling so much that I will choose the feeling of leaving, which also is a type of pain because regardless of how terrible a person is to you, once you've developed this kind of traumatic relationship with them, it's like an addiction. It's like if you eat sugar every day, it's not easy to stop eating sugar. If you smoke every day, it's not easy to stop smoking.
Right, right,
If
right,
you do any other type of drug, it's not easy to stop doing those things. So if this is
right.
somebody that you spent a certain amount of time with, and it doesn't always have to be an extremely long time, but you've dedicated a certain amount of time with them, and um, and then you now separate yourself from them. You go through this withdrawal. Your mind will trick you into remembering a few good moments and thinking about a couple of memories and laughs and sex and different
Right.
things, and you think that you really want to be with them or that you miss them, but then the cycle continues if and when you stay.
Yeah.
So for me, it was always asking myself, do you want to be happy? What do you want? Because you're not happy. Is it
Right.
something that can be fixed? Most
I
times the answer is
literally,
no.
do you know what I was going to say that? Because a lot of the time the answer is actually no. When you get to this point, when we the fixing thing, because it's often one-sided. If he wanted to fix it, it would have been fixed. We would have been
Yeah,
dealing with this. But yeah, it's
because
just
you
part of our
can't pick
brains.
somebody
You
else either.
cannot.
It's what can you do
Yeah.
on your end that could change it.
Right.
And what I don't want women to do is, because they're looking for a reason to stay in a violent situation, they ask themselves, what can I do? And they try to overcompensate for his failures.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And we
don't
do
want that to
that.
happen either because we do that as well. So that is
We
not
do.
what I mean by asking yourself, is it something that can be fixed? As in, is he controlling you? Is he abusive? Is he verbally abusive? Is he emotionally or financially abusive in any other kind of way? You know, dictating what you do and who you see and how your life goes and your experience in this world, basically. If those things are happening, you cannot change him, and your
Mm-mm.
life is going to be the way that he is now deciding that it's going to be, and that is
Right.
never worth it because, in my opinion, and I've come a long way from what I used to think love is. I could talk, that could be a whole nother episode, me talking about what I think love is, but
Yeah.
one thing I know for certain is love is not controlling, and
Yes.
feel like I don't believe that we are supposed to own people. People don't belong to us,
Right.
and that's the mistake we make when we get in relationships and we
Yeah.
give somebody the power to feel like
They
they
own
are
us.
our owners, and
Yeah.
we feel like we now own
Feel
them.
good.
We
Yeah.
feel like they can't even have experiences in
Without us.
interactions with other people and
Mm.
without us. And I feel like, and that's when it starts to become really toxic, because we're all free
Right.
beings and you get to enjoy my energy and experience my energy the same way that other people in my life get to experience me in different ways. But I do not belong to you, and you do not get to limit me and my life experience. So,
Yes, Jazz,
I
powerful.
just
I'm so glad you like honestly, this is I'm listening to it, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Like honestly, seriously, they do not. And because a lot of the
no,
time we've been brought up to feel like that,
yeah,
that they have this power over us and they do not have the power over us like that. And like you were saying, ultimately, I think it boils down to like, oh, just knowing that you deserve so much more and your happiness really is not in this person. I know it feels like the happiness is in this person and they're everything. And if you don't, if you're not around them, whatever, but, or even if you like, you deserve an amazing life and you can actually give that to yourself.
yeah,
You can actually have a life that is not built on abuse, fear, control, constantly cooking and cleaning for somebody else. You can every think about the kind of life you want, envision it, right? And you can have that even if it does involve another person, right? You can have the toxic free, beautiful relationship. You're worth it. you're worth it. You're worth it. You
Mm,
deserve it. You can actually have it. I think a lot of women think it's impossible. And I think the partners in abusive relationships as well, that those who are often the abusers, they have a very great way of making the abusee feel worthless and like they will not do any better. Like the situation that they're in is going to be the best situation for them, but they're not going to
mm,
get any better. And that's a lie. You have to believe that you can create the life you want and you can actually live a, in a peaceful, flourishing environment, even if it means being on your own. You don't have to be scared of being alone. You know what I mean? Like you're amazing. It's better to be alone and get to find out who you are than to be in a situation that's bringing you daily pain, all because we have to unionize with someone, you know?
mm. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I agree with that completely. Um, well, ladies, I am so glad that you all tuned in today to have this
Mm.
conversation about domestic violence. I love that we were able to release and share some personal experiences, and even we had a couple of laughs in there. But I know that women who are currently suffering from domestic abuse, do everything that you can to try to remove yourself from a potentially fatal situation. You have everything inside you that you need to
Mm.
thrive and succeed and get out of it and make it out on top. So
Yeah,
believe in yourself. I believe in you the same way I
we
believed in
do.
myself.
We love you.
We love you,
We
ladies.
really do love you for real. Like
Yeah,
we
we
do this
do.
because we love you, you know, we love us. So we're here.
Yeah,
We're
man.
supporting you. Even though it sounds silly, but we are. Like I'm rooting for every woman, every single woman in a situation that is literally hindering her life and ruining her quality of life. I
Yeah,
pray for every single one of us, you know, I send us light and love and healing.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, ladies, as always, you can find us on Instagram or Twitter at the Pow Podcast, and we will see you guys next week.
See you next week, guys. Thank you. Bye.